Hi, welcome back to the ANS Way, and in today's video we are going to be talking about 10 things that are different about UK homes versus American homes, especially as we've been living here for about 2 years now.
Stay tuned until the end because we've got some questions what you think about American versus UK homes. Please do subscribe if you enjoy this video. Number one, the most obvious one, it's size or lack thereof. Most UK homes are absolutely tiny. We mentioned this in a couple of other videos and they're smaller than I had anticipated.
In America, by comparison, when we got here, we were finding homes were well in excess of 2,000 square feet. I would say more typically around 3,000. And initially we thought that's way too large for us. But what we have found is it's allowed for more rooms, more functionality in your house overall, and space to do things that you want rather than struggling to cram your clothes, storage, things. You can actually live in your home and do things. That leads to number two, and that is the functionality of US homes. And I'm talking walk-in closets and pantries and dedicated laundry rooms. In the UK, they would not come in a typical home. As we said in the first point, UK homes are tiny, so they don't really have the space to have those types of rooms. But here in the US, they do. And it's something that I absolutely love here.
Number three on the list, the kitchen. Now, the kitchens in the UK are either non-existent little rooms somewhere in the house, either at the front or the back, that are separate from every other room. In the US, however, it's kind of a central location for gathering, dining rooms around it, the living area, so that you cook and entertain at the same time. This is something that we had to get used to because having the kitchen in your living room is a little bit weird for English people, I would say.
Although newer build homes are starting to have this more open plan style living, but definitely when we were growing up, the kitchen was a separate area.
Yeah. One of the magical things we do have here in the US is the garbage disposal. I throw everything in there, all of the food scraps, turn it on, run the water, and it's gone.
And it's brilliant when you live somewhere like Vegas that gets super hot in the summer, or for most of the year it's super hot, and you can just get rid of the food rather than have it in the trash can outside.
Trash can, there you go.
I'm adjusting my language.
Like in America. The other thing that Selena really misses is something from the UK, which is a drainage area that's built into the sink platform, sink basin, right next to the sink. So when you wash up, you put it over there and it drains off and it runs into the sink, so the water comes off. I don't miss it that much because I'm a dishwasher person. And we have these little drying mats and I find them perfectly fine, but you do mention all the time the drainage.
Like that it has that in the UK homes, and if we've got some shots, we'll share that here.
And the final thing, which we've mentioned a couple of times, but I think it's really important, pantries. I don't think I've ever seen a pantry in the UK, personally. Here in the US, every home that we looked at has a separate pantry or a huge area that acts as a pantry. And we get to store our huge 25 kilo Costco bags of rice and cereal in there.
The other thing that you might find, especially for our US viewers, is that in the UK, our washing machine is typically in the kitchen. Now, when I think about that
seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it sounds really strange. Can you imagine you'll be cooking, or perhaps you're having dinner in the kitchen, you've got friends around and then your washing machine is going off. Yeah, so a very weird thing about the UK kitchen.
Number four is bathrooms, or bathrooms, as is said in the US. They pronounce their THs. So many bathrooms. We have 3.5 in here, and I think in the last place that we stayed was 3.5. All of the homes that we looked at had between 3 and 5 bathrooms. They are obsessed. In the UK, you'll be lucky to have one main bathroom, and maybe, depending on when your home was built, an ensuite, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Certainly when we were growing up, that just wasn't the norm in houses, but since the 2000s, they started building the new homes started having an ensuite. But even then, the ensuite bathroom was tiny and
comically small.
Comically small, where two of you cannot be in there at the same time. There would be one sink, and that's another main difference. Here in the US, their ensuites really do cater for two people. They have double sinks, and that would really be a luxury in a UK home. Actually, when I went to one of my colleagues' homes, her shower was so large, it was larger than one of my friend's bedroom bedroom, the shower space. That's how big it is here. I don't know if this is the same across the US, but one of the biggest things I found strange with the bathrooms here, especially the ensuite, was that they don't typically have a door. And that for me is very different from the UK. UK, you will always have a door to your ensuite or your bathroom. At number 5, parking. And this may surprise our American viewers, but in the UK, parking can be a real issue. And it's something that we suffered with when we were looking at new build homes, in particular where they wouldn't have a driveway. So you would be assigned a parking spot, maybe 1 or 2, depending on the size of the home. But that was really something that you had to consider when buying a new build, is whether you're even going to have a space to park your car.
Before moving out here, we bought a 3-bedroom family apartment, and you have one allocated space and that was it. There was no option to buy another one. And this isn't just places that are dense cities. We lived out, much further out from the city of London. So it's quite an odd way to live in the UK. America, by comparison, has excessive space. Especially here in Vegas, you have ample room to park your many, many cars, trucks, boats, jet skis, motorbikes, RVs. And number 6 is garages. In the UK, it's kind of a mixed bag. Older homes tended to have garages in which you cannot park modern cars because they were built for things like minis, metros, which most cars are too big now, so you can't actually get in and open the doors. So you could buy an older home, have a garage, you can't park your car, so they tend to be used as storage. Newer build homes, depending on where you are, as we mentioned, will either have no spaces and no garage, or we did buy a home in 2015 which did come with a garage that was big enough for a car and 2 tandem parking spaces.
Which is quite rare.
It's very rare, especially the closer you get to London. America, on the other hand, it's integral to their home design. They generally will have a double garage that fits within the home footprint. So instead of it being external to the house, it'll be built into the home. And they can genuinely be bigger than a UK apartment. I think this is a small one, it's about 400 square foot. Some of the ones that we looked at were maybe 500 to 600 square foot, which I'll throw something up on the screen. A UK apartment can be 600 square foot.
At number 7, we have getting your mail. And this is something that I definitely miss about the UK. In the UK, we have mail that just comes through the door. It's wonderful. You do not have to go anywhere. You hear when the postman arrives, you get your letters. Here, we have to trek about a block to go and get our mail. And it's a discussion every day. Oh, yeah, have you been to check the letterbox yet? In the UK, it's so much easier. And that's something I definitely miss. And I don't know if that's everywhere in the US, but certainly here in Nevada, that's how you get your mail.
Number 8. Temperature control, and specifically temperature control rather than heating, because in the US, at least in the parts that we would choose to live, nearly every home has air conditioning. Now, to a UK person, that generally means cooling the home. The way it works here in the US, which is new to me as well, it's amazing. Air comes from the sky, so it cools and heats. They're separate units. One's a gas burner or furnace, and one is an air conditioning unit that cools down, but it keeps and maintains the perfect temperature all year round. Really hot summers, which we get here, 46 degrees Celsius, it's perfect in here. And when it's cold, it takes, how long would you say to warm up in here?
10 minutes maybe?
10 minutes at most to warm the whole house. This leads us on to how it works in the UK. Horribly is what I would say. We have radiators, which firstly, to me are an eyesore, and I know we've done a lot better job of the modern panel ones, but they're an eyesore, they're in the way. I think they're filled with water, a boiler heats the water up and it comes out, and 2 hours later the house might be livable. I had no idea, I thought the radiator system was quite good until we got here. But trust me, heat from the sky is where it's at. I love it.
At number 9, we have gardens versus backyard. In the UK, gardens are like a national treasure for us. They're lush and green. Lots of British people are really into gardening, and sometimes they're disproportionately sized in comparison to the house. So you might have a small house, but then you might have this 100-foot garden with these large orchard trees, whereas here in the US, we're not finding that is as normal. And I get it, it can depend where you are.
Yeah.
And I've had a few people say to me, why do you call it a backyard and not a garden? Because it's not a garden. There's nothing about our backyard that makes me think of a garden, but it's different. It's a more functional space to put a pool, have your barbecue set up, play games. So to me, it is a backyard that you just make into whatever you want it to be, whereas in England, it truly is a garden.
Finally, number 10. We know this personally because we did put out a video that wasn't specifically about this, but we asked the question, and that is hardwood or hard surfaces versus carpet in your home. Now, I'm still torn. I'm quite traditional in the sense of I love carpet and it feels nice, makes the place feel warmer, more cozy. But I have come around to the practicalities of hard flooring. We use luxury vinyl plank, which is a high quality vinyl, but it mimics hardwood. And it's super easy to clean. You can wipe anything up, you can drop stuff on there and
And it looks good.
It does look really nice. Where I struggle a little bit is we put lots of rugs down in the soft areas.
Yeah.
So we turn hardwood into carpet just in little spaces, which I think indicates that carpet is the way to go for me.
I know lots of people are going to say, no, carpet's awful, it's unhygienic. I think the thing that gets me about American homes, and it was one of the things when we was looking at rentals, was they would have hardwood everywhere, even in the bedrooms. And for me, I do like a bedroom to be cozy with carpet, but a bit like Ant, I've come around, so I get it. I do understand how much more practical hardwood is. It's just, it loses the cozy feeling of a UK home.
There you have it. 10 things that make US and UK homes different. At the beginning of the video, we did mention that we had some questions for you. So for those who have stuck around, thank you. You're getting our viewer attention up. And here are the questions. Question 1. For those of you in the UK, have you or do you currently experience the parking problems? And if you do, how do you deal with it? In particular, those where they have shared parking spaces and you might get into disputes with your neighbours.
Question number 2. Which difference between UK and American homes surprised you the most and why?
And the final question, question 3, is which do you prefer? If you've experienced both or you look them up, I do this all the time. I go onto Zoopla and Zillow and you're looking at other houses or you've seen them on TV. Which homes do you prefer? And it might seem really obvious because somebody's gonna say, oh, I want the bigger home. But actually a lot of people like really cute, cozy homes. So which do you prefer? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.